smoke is quieting down. Seems like we've got to a lot of the smoke. Dub, you got smoke?
In the most recent Patreon episode, Rockabye Baby, Joe Budden says that people are lucky that in 2009, alcohol was flowing on that Grammy afternoon. He said Usher would have a problem, basically, if Chris Brown and Rihanna did not have that situation. He wasn't trying to disrespect Usher at all, but just making a comparison. EMANNY started off this argument with letting Ice know to never compare Usher and Chris Brown, but Ice dragged them into it. Let's get to the files.
When I asked you about the Usher joint, don't mention Chris Brown behind it.
I just asked you which
Don't
was a better
compare.
album.
Don't.
But
Would you compare?
No.
If R. Kelly or Michael or one of them niggas put out an album right now, would you compare it and say, well, what about the Chris Brown shit?
No, I said.
Joe Budden thinks Chris Brown would have been more appropriate for the Super Bowl stage than Usher. EMANNY went to name 5 of his best Usher albums, but out of the 5, the crew only agreed to 3 of them. EMANNY spoke to Usher being the artist that always delivers when it comes to albums, singles. He also sustained a great career, and he's been giving us undeniable classics, and says Chris Brown is up for debate when it comes to that. EMANNY goes to say that this is probably the first and last time that the NFL will acknowledge R&B in this light, and said Usher is the only person today that can represent R&B as a whole. EMANNY doesn't disagree with his crew members on Chris Brown being a great performer and dominating the stage, but the guy to represent R&B as a whole, I don't think so. Meaning a cleaner history overall, and that would be Usher. EMANNY brings up the Vegas residency, and Ice brought up Chris Brown's residency, but EMANNY doesn't agree, but wants to be clear and wants everyone to know that he isn't trying to violate Chris Brown at all. EMANNY said 8701, My Way, Confessions, Here I Stand, and Raymond v. Raymond is in his top 5. Joe Budden wanted Here I Stand in there for Raymond v. Raymond. But even though the crew had their opinion on the albums, they didn't give 3 to 5 albums that Chris Brown would have to compete. So in my opinion, Usher wins, and EMANNY kind of takes that argument a little bit, you know. But when it goes to stage performance, I do think that Chris Brown may be a little better, but I still don't agree that Chris Brown would be the best to represent a clean R&B for the Super Bowl. Even Chris Brown's look today in 2024 isn't the most cleanest. It's very all over the place. So if Chris Brown and Rihanna didn't get into that altercation, we don't know where he would be. But like EMANNY said, let's talk about the now and not the if. There is a saying, if was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. So, should Usher and Chris Brown be mentioned in the same sentence? Should they or can they be compared? Should Usher be in the same category as Michael Jackson, R. Kelly, Whitney Houston, and Chris Brown shouldn't? Is Usher an icon or is Chris Brown an icon? Because Usher is the cleaner artist publicly, is it disrespectful to compare them? Has Usher really recovered to the fans since going pop? Chris Brown's album Fame had a lot of singles that became hits. Also, does this break down to the age demographic and fans? You know, Joe Budden and his crew is all over 40, giving these R&B opinions. Would people from the ages of 25 to 35 may have a different opinion or take on this? This is a spicy debate, y'all. Let's see how it goes. If I entertain you, drop a dub here in the comments. And please let me know your take, because we're going to be back with the files.
My guy Dub, too. That's my man, though.
Gang, gang.
That's my man, Big Dub.